Namaste, welcome to Vinyasa Flow Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. We're going to continue with our heart opening, bringing the shoulders into extension in the physical yoga practice. So make sure that you have 2 blocks and a strap. And I invite you to start in some version of hero's pose in which you might like to place a block between your ankles to sit on. If hero's pose or any of the postures does not work for your body, please find ways to adjust. Take a different version of the posture, and ultimately you could also opt out. So take care of yourself. Make sure that you are tailoring your own physical yoga practice to what's present for you. With that being said, here is an excerpt from Meditations from the Mat written by Rolf Gates and Katrina Kennison about going all or nothing in a physical yoga pose, or taking it through a gradient. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Remember that old proverb? In yoga, we learn to stay with a posture, to hold the posture. Difficulty, discomfort, fear, boredom, distraction, the entire gamut of thoughts and emotions arise. And we simply observe their comings and goings, just like we do when we're sitting in meditation. We learn to use what comes up to inform the present posture and to help us in the postures to come. There is a liability in this ethos, however, thanks to our no pain, no gain Puritan heritage. The hard-working, well-intentioned yoga student often believes that nothing less than 100% gonads to the wall effort will do. The fallout from this misconception can be injury, but more often it is simply bitterness and blame. We may blame our teachers for teaching too hard a class, but more often we will blame ourselves for simply not being better than we are. On good days, we feel the elation of living up to our expectations. The so-called bad days are fraught with frustration and failure. Caught in this negative cycle of judgment and evaluation, we find ourselves at best blocked from the most nourishing aspects of yoga, and at worst, unable to sustain our practice. Defeated, we give up and move on, believing we have failed and that yoga is not for us. There's another way. We need to learn to make rest a part of the practice. And we need to take that rest long before we feel exhausted or frustrated. Some can rest and regroup in child's pose, taking a few calming breaths before moving on to the next posture. If you begin to think of rest periods as an active part of your practice, you will stay in tune with what your body is telling you and act accordingly. Other students can learn to rest in the posture itself. This is an important concept. We enter a posture, the heat builds, and before long, we want to get the heck out of it. That is one option, retreat. But another option is to just back off a little within the posture. Rest for a breath or two, and then see if you can deepen the pose. As a young man, I would look in awe at older people around me who could sustain their effort at a job or a project over many years. I didn't realize that these men and women had learned to rest in the posture. Such an important point. How can you be with what's coming up for you throughout your practice without exiting it completely, but really finding that ability to so-called rest or find easefulness while you're in it, in a way that you can still be open to what's coming up? So that's food for thought as we begin our asanas. Let the body be still, maybe close the eyes, and begin to observe what you are feeling physically. What you are feeling energetically by sensing the natural breath coming and going. Notice what you're feeling emotionally and mentally. Now let's inhale through the nose a little slower. Exhale through the lips a little slower. Even slower, breathing in through the nose. And just as slowly breathing out through the lips. Keep on deepening your breath gently as you invite gratitude into your practice, recognizing anything right now that you appreciate. Now, what are you inviting in to your experience through your practice? What qualities are you strengthening about yourself? Allow a moment to set your intention. And as a way to see the bigger picture that we are a part of, I invite you to choose somebody to dedicate your practice to today. Let's set our intentions and dedications while creating resonance by chanting Om 3 times. Let's invite focus of mind, calmness of body, and balance in energy by practicing Ujjayi Pranayama, victorious breathing. Closing your lips, gently narrow the back of your throat, and slowing the breath down, balance the length of in-breath with out-breath, creating a gentle whispering sound. Listen to a few cycles as you're sitting here now. See if you can maintain that gently audible, slow rhythm going through much of our physical practice as we're going to set the movements of our bodies to the pace of that breath. Let's make our way into downward facing dog. Stepping the feet hips distance apart. Allow a few deep breaths in downward dog to move your body any way it needs to loosen up. You might help to relax your neck by gently shaking and nodding your head while you're lifting the shoulders back away from the ears, spreading your fingers flat on the earth. You might also pedal your feet in place, maybe swiveling the hips side to side. Start to find stillness in Adho Mukha Svanasana, lifting the hips high, firming the fronts of the thighs back, and rooting down through the heels, even if they don't touch the floor. You can also bend your knees to help elongate your back.
Now, keeping the hands still, spin your triceps towards the ground, lift the shoulders back, soften your neck, and steady your gaze, listening to your breath. On your next inhalation, come forward into plank pose, top of a push-up. Whether you keep your legs actively straight or set your knees on the ground right under your hips, stack your shoulders right above your wrist. Lengthen your neck by gazing on the ground ahead of your thumbs and engage your abdomen. Lift the sides of the waist. If your legs are straight, firm your inner heels back, activating your quadriceps. With a slow exhalation, glide forward, bend your elbows back so they graze your side ribs, pass through Chaturanga Dandasana, halfway down, and lower all the way to the ground. Rest your forehead on the earth and root down to the tops of your feet, actively stretching your legs long. Bring the hands behind your lower back so that both your shoulders are an extension to create a hard opening back bend in bound locust pose. Keep your feet pressing the floor as you breathe in to coil your chest up. Stretch the knuckles of your hands towards your heels. Look slightly down and exhale. Keep the hands together and lower your forehead. Let's go up and down twice more. We'll hold the last. Inhale. Draw the shoulders back, broaden your chest. Look down ahead to lengthen the back of your neck. Keep your feet on the ground. Exhale, lower. This time we'll hold bound locust for 5 breaths. Inhale, draw the shoulders back. Keep pressing every toenail flat into the floor. Look slightly down so as to not add any unneeded tension around your shoulders, neck, or face. Tune into the sound of your breath and find the degree that you need to be in this pose so that you can sustain it without overdoing or underdoing your effort. Set your hands flat with the heels of your palms alongside your floating ribs. Hug the elbows close to your ribs. Root down to the tops of your feet. And inhale into cobra, or if you're warm in the shoulders, upward facing dog. Tucking your toes. Engage your abdomen and press up as you exhale, plank pose. Lift your hips back, downward facing dog. Walk or float to the top of your mat into Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, press your legs, blocks or the floor, lengthen your spine forward, half forward fold. Exhale, fold. Root down to your feet. Inhale, slowly rise, arms forward and overhead into Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, join your palms from your crown to your heart center. Remind yourself what your intention is for this practice. Offering gratitude to the sun, let's begin sun salutation C. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead, draw your shoulders back, tilt your heart towards the sun. Exhale, hinge forward from your hips. Feel free to bend the knees. Lower your fingertips on the ground. Inhale, step your left knee behind you and look up, kneeling lunge. Hold your breath and step to plank. As you exhale, lower your knees, chest, then chin. Inhale, slide forward onto your belly and coil your chest up to cobra. Exhale, tuck your toes and lift your hips back to downward facing dog. Inhale, step your left foot forward beside your left thumb. Lower your right knee and gaze up. Exhale, step your right foot forward and bow. Inhale, root down to rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, join your palms at your heart center. Once more, Surya Namaskar C. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Plant your fingertips. Inhale, step your right knee back and gaze up. While holding your breath, step into plank. Exhale, lower knees, chest, then chin in Ashtangasana. Inhale, slide forward into cobra. Draw the shoulders back. Exhale, tuck your toes and lift the hips, downward facing dog. Inhale, step your right foot beside your right thumb. Lower your left knee and gaze up. Exhale, step your left foot forward and fold. Inhale, rise to the top. Exhale, join your hands in prayer. Let's move into Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Press your hands on your shins, blocks of the floor. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, half fold. Step into plank pose, and as you exhale, glide forward. Graze your elbows by your ribs through Chaturanga. This time, inhale to Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Pausing there in stillness, steady your gaze for 3 deep breaths. We're going to add on from here, creating a vinyasa flow. The first round, we'll take it slowly as we set the route. The second round will flow continuously through the breath. As you keep your hips leveled, inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Exhaling, bend your right knee towards your nose, engaging your abdomen. Softly land your right foot beside your right thumb. Stay on the ball of your left foot and inhale, rise up into crescent lunge. Let's pause here a few breaths. Draw your tailbone down. It might help to bend the left knee. Turn both of your hips to equally face forward, having your feet hips distance apart. Engage your lower belly, slightly lifting your frontal hip bones, and relax your shoulders as you raise the arms. Another deep breath in. Backstroke your arms and interlace your fingers behind your back. Engage your abdomen and tilt your torso forward to a diagonal, Degasana. Draw the right hip back, rotate the left outer hip forward, and look at the ground ahead of your mat. Keep the belly engaged as you shift all your weight into your right foot, entering Warrior 3 with your hands clasped. Right away, flex your left foot and square your hips to face the floor. Pause for an inhalation, lengthen through your spine and the instep of your left foot. Now, as you exhale, keep the left arm behind you and set the left foot to the ground for Warrior 2, extending the right arm forward, palm face up. Left shoulder is an extension as you wrap the left arm behind you. Bending the right knee just above the right heel. Firm the outer edge of your left foot into the ground. Rotating your right outer hip beneath you to point your right knee towards your pinky toe. Firm the top of your left thigh bone back. On your next inhale, side bend towards your rear wall in peaceful warrior. Let the shoulders soften down as you hug your front bottom ribs in. Keep your right knee bent and pointing forward. Breathe a little deeper into the right wall of your rib cage. One more deep breath. As you exhale, windmill your hands to plank pose and continue to lower through Chaturanga, taking it into your Vinyasa at your pace. Downward facing dog. Pause. Notice the length of your in and out breaths. Rebalance them. As you keep both hips leveled, inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhaling, bend your left knee high towards your nose to activate the belly and quietly land the foot beside your left thumb. Stay on the ball of your right foot. Inhale, rise up to crescent lunge. Let's pause here. Direct your tailbone down. With your feet hips width apart, square both hips to face forward.
Slightly lift your frontal hip bones and lengthen your spine, relaxing the shoulders down. Inhale here. Backstroke the arms behind you and switch the thumb and index finger crossed on top as you clasp the hands. Keep the belly engaged and start to tilt your torso forward diagonally into Degasana. Gaze at the ground in front of your mat and draw the left hip back. Send the right outer hip forward. On your next inhale, shift all your weight into your left foot. Flex the right foot where the toes face the ground into Virabhadrasana 3. Get long through the center line of your body. Another breath in. Now keep the right arm wrapped behind you as you step the right foot to the ground in Warrior 2, aligning left heel to the arch of your right foot. Flip your left palm to face up. And as you're bending the left knee right on top of your ankle, root the outer edge of your right foot down. Inhale, side bend towards your rear wall. Peaceful warrior with your right arm bound. Let's stay a few deep breaths. One more inhale. Exhale your hands to the floor, plank. Continue down into your vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Slow down your breathing. 3 deep breaths. Now we're going to take the same sequence, 1 breath, each movement, taking your time with your breath so that you're not rushing your movements. Here we go. Keep the hips leveled. Inhale, raise your right leg back. Exhale, bend the knee towards your nose in plank. Step the foot beside right thumb, high lunge. Inhale, rise up to crescent pose. Clasp the hands behind you and exhale, shift forward into Warrior 3. Flexing the left foot. Inhale, lengthen your midline in Warrior 3. Exhale, wrap the left arm behind you in Warrior 2. Flip the right palm to face up. Inhale, peaceful warrior, side bend towards your rear wall. Exhale, lower your hands and flow down into your vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you, squaring your hips. Exhale, bend the knee towards your nose in plank, stepping the foot beside left thumb. High lunge. Inhale, rise up to crescent pose. Exhale, backstroke the arms, clasping behind you, and shift forward to Warrior 3. Inhale, lengthen through the midline of your body in Warrior 3. Keep the right arm wrapped behind you. Exhale, step the right foot down to Warrior 2. Inhale, side bend to Peaceful Warrior. Exhale, lower your hands and go into your vinyasa. Notice what your body needs to feel balance of energy right now. Stay in downward dog or lower to child's pose for 3 deep breaths. What's coming up physically, mentally? Let's try the sequence one last time. Flowing to your breath, let the movements be a form of meditation as you focus on the sound of your breathing. From downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Exhale, bend knee to nose, step the foot forward into a high lunge. Inhale, rise to stand in crescent pose. Clasp the hands behind you and exhale, shift forward into Warrior 3.
Stay in warrior three and inhale, lengthen. Wrap the left arm behind you and exhale, step to warrior two. Inhale, side bend to peaceful warrior. Exhale, lower to plank and continue into your vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your left leg, squaring your hips. Exhale, bend knee to nose, step the foot beside left thumb, high lunge. Inhale, rise into crescent pose. Clasp the hands behind you. Exhale, shift forward into warrior three. Stay in warrior three and inhale, lengthen to your center line. Keep the right arm wrapped behind you and exhale, lower the right foot, warrior two. Inhale, side bend to peaceful warrior. Exhale, lower to the ground and flow into your vinyasa. Downward dog or child's pose. Tune in to 3 deep breaths, slowing it down. Now coming back to downward facing dog, inhale, raise your right leg behind you. And as you exhale, bend the knee towards your nose, step the foot into a high lunge. Have a block on both sides of your right foot. And inhale, rise up into crescent pose. From crescent pose, start to lean forward, place your hands on blocks, and walk the blocks a foot ahead of your right foot. Shifting into supported warrior three. Now we're gonna add a twist into twisting half moon. Flex your left foot and lengthen through your spine. Turn the left hip to face down and lift through the sides of the belly. How is your breathing? Keep each leg in their separate lanes and walk your left block to the right until it's 1 foot in front of your right big toe. Place your right hand on your right outer hip, and as you tack it back, press the left foot back and inhale, lengthen your crown forward. Keep your pelvis still and start to twist to the right, turning your chest. Raising the right arm up, Parita Ardha Chandrasana. Notice the degree in which you can sustain this pose so that you're able to keep balancing the breath. Remember, the postures are meant to be a balance of effort and ease. So it's not all or nothing. Now, if you're still balancing here, you might opt to bend the left knee and catch the left foot with your right hand, coming into twisting standing bow, where you kick the foot into your right hand as you pull the foot towards you, and maybe add bending your right knee, lifting the left hand forward, and rising up to stand. Whatever variation of your twist, tune into 3 more deep breaths. Now, with both hands on the block again, spaced apart, start to bend the right knee. Walk the blocks towards your right foot and step into warrior one. Bending the front knee with the back leg straight, hips squared forward. Bring the hands behind you to interlace again, preparing for humble or devotional warrior. Breathe in to lift your chest, bringing the shoulders into extension. And then take your time, breath by breath, begin to bow forward, either resting on your right thigh or lowering the head to the inside of your right ankle as you tack your right hip back. Stretching the arms forward away from your lower back to broaden your heart space. Lift the shoulders up away from the neck and soften the neck, tuning into 3 last breaths. Lower your hands to plank pose, top of a push-up. From plank, ride a slow exhale down through chaturanga, lying on your belly, face down. Slide your knees close together and let's prepare for bow pose, Dhanurasana. Bending both knees, reach back with your hands to catch your outer feet. Kick your feet into your hands and pull your feet towards you, lifting your knees no wider apart than hips distance. Draw your shoulders back and look slightly down. Count about 5 breaths or more before you let go to rest. Rest for 2 deep breaths. Sense what you're feeling in your body. And place the heels of your palms alongside your floating ribs and tuck your toes. Inhale here. Exhale, press up to plank. Downward facing dog. From downward dog. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhale, bend the knee towards your nose. Quietly land the foot beside left thumb into a high lunge. Have the blocks framing your left foot. And inhale, rise up to crescent pose. Establish the feeling of squaring your hips forward and connecting to the strength of your navel center. Draw the belly in and up. Then lower your hands on your blocks. Place the blocks a foot in front of your left foot. Shift your weight forward, supported warrior 3. As you flex your right foot, lengthen your torso forward. Square your hips and lift through the sides of your belly. Check in with your breathing. Remember, your breathing is a gauge in how you're balancing effort with ease. So only go to the extent in a posture where you can still breathe evenly and deeply. Walk the right block to the left until it's about a foot in front of your left big toe. Keep each leg in its separate lanes and use your left hand to draw your left outer hip back. While you inhale, press back to your right foot and lengthen the crown forward. Keep your pelvis still and exhale, start to twist to the left by turning your rib cage. Raising your left arm, you're now in twisting half moon pose. Parita Ardha Chandrasana. Stay here or bend the right knee. Catch the right foot with the left hand and kicking the foot into your hand, pull the foot towards you. You might bend the left knee as well and raise the right arm forward, rising into standing, twisting bow. Last 3 breaths. Lower your hands onto both blocks. Walk the blocks back and step into warrior 1. Spinning the right heel down as you square your hips forward, rise to stand. Front knee bent, back leg straight. Backstroke your arms and let's switch the clasp of your thumb and index finger on top. Humble or devotional warrior. Keep your hips evenly facing forward and feel the weight of your right outer heel rooting you into the earth. Inhale, lift your heart. And take your time, start to bow from your hips, either resting on your left thigh or lowering your head to the inside of the ankle. Stretching the arms forward, lift the shoulders away from your neck. Last few breaths. Lower your hands, step into plank pose. Keep the belly engaged and take a slow descent through chaturanga and all the way down. Forehead to the floor. Let's practice one more bow pose, Dhanurasana. Slide your knees close together and bend them. Reach back, either hold your outer feet or go a step further and hold your inner feet or ankles. If you're holding your ankles, flex your feet. Press your pubic bone into the ground and kick your feet away while pulling your feet towards you to lift the knees. Have the knees no wider apart than hips distance. Draw your shoulders back. Relax the face and neck. 5 or more deep breaths. When you've let it go, pause and rest. This time for 3 deep breaths. Plant your hands flat on the floor so the heels of your palms are alongside your floating ribs. And press up to your knees. We're going to move into 2 rounds of back bends in camel pose. So let's start with the toes tucked and a block by its skinniest width or medium width right between your knees and thighs. Decide which width allows you to have your knees, your hips width apart. Hug the block firmly and let it feel as if you're trying to shoot the block behind you, which means spin your inner thighs slightly towards your rear wall, helping to broaden your lower back. At the same time, actively stretch your tailbone downward, helping to lengthen your lower back. Backstroke your arms to open up the fronts of your shoulders and place your hands on your lower back, fingertips face down. With your hands gently pressing your pelvis forward, keep your pelvis directly above your knees the whole posture. This also helps to support your lower back. As you breathe in, lift your sternum and peel your shoulder bones behind you. As you breathe out, slide the shoulder blades down the back ribs and hug your elbows closer together. Breath by breath, locate the area right under your shoulder blades to bend your back, tilting your chest and gaze up. Stay for 5 or more breaths before you lift up to sit. If it's reachable, drop one hand to hold the heel behind you. Then switch heels, switch hands. Or hold both heels if it doesn't cause any strain. Ustrasana, camel pose. When you're ready to come out, place your hands in your lower back and lift your spine vertically. Have a seat for 3 breaths. You might use that block as a stool right between the ankles to sit on. And like we practiced on Monday, you might bring the hands in Lotus Mudra, which focuses on your heart energy center. Can you still hear the ocean sound in your Ujjayi breathing? And keep that going and take your last round of camel pose with or without the block for lower back support. Toes tucked, or if you reach through heels easily, you can untuck the toes to make them further. I'll meet you sitting down, so take your practice of camel for 5 to 10 breaths this time.
you've rested for at least 3 breaths, please bring your legs in front of you and let's come to sit for a spinal twist. Extend your left leg forward. Step your right foot on the floor in front of your right hip. Now flexing both of your feet, place the right hand on the ground behind your pelvis. Cross your left hand to hold the outer edge of your right foot. Press your sitting bones into the ground and lift up from the base of your spine, relaxing the shoulders. Breathe in here and kick your foot against your right hand while pulling your foot towards you. As you exhale, start to turn your rib cage to the right. Option to raise the right arm towards your back wall. Inhale, root down and rise taller. Exhale, keep turning the rib cage. Maybe looking behind you. On your next exhale, unwind your spine and bending your right knee, wrap it over your left leg as close together as you can. Either keeping your left leg straight and the foot flexed, or bending the left knee too as we bring the legs into cow face pose. Ground your sitting bones evenly, and we'll bring the arms into eagle pose to counterbalance our back bends. Cross your left elbow over the right and either hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms in palms. As you relax the shoulders down, sit up a little taller and breathe in. Firming in the belly, exhale, start to hinge forward from your hips, taking this for about 5 breaths. So your arms are in Gomukhasana and your legs are in, actually your arms are in Garudasana, eagle pose, and your legs are in Gomukhasana, cow face pose. As you press the pelvis downward, inhale, start to rise from your heart. Backstroke the arms apart, relax the legs straight, and just pause as you sit tall in stick pose for a couple of breaths. Notice anything you're feeling right now. Bending your left knee, step your left foot on the floor in front of your left hip. Place the left hand on the ground behind your pelvis. Flexing both feet, cross your right hand to catch your outer left foot. Press your sitting bones down, and as you lengthen your spine upright, breathe in, kick your left foot into your right hand as you pull the foot towards you. Exhale, twist to your left, maybe raise the left arm towards the back wall. Keep rooting down to rise, twisting as you breathe out. On your next exhale, unwind your spine, cross the left thigh over the right. Either keep your right leg straight and the foot flexed, or bend your right knee too and splay the feet apart. Evenly ground your sitting bones, and now let's bend the elbows apart. Wrap the right elbow over the left. Hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms in palms. As you slide the shoulders down, lift through the back of your skull and inhale. Exhaling, hinge little by little from the hips. Press down to your hips. Inhale, rise through your heart. Release the arms, release the legs. And again, pause and observe for a couple of breaths. Let's bend the knees apart for bound angle pose, Baddha Konasana. Bring the soles of your feet together. Take hold of your big toes or outer feet and press down to your sitting bones as you lift your heart and relax the shoulders. Breathe in here And then exhale, begin to hinge from the hips, breath by breath. Maybe walking your hands forward. Lead from your chest. Inhale, slowly rise. Straighten your legs forward for Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. Optional to place a strap around the balls of your feet as an extension of your arms. Again, ground your sitting bones. Here, flex your feet, hips width apart. And if you're not using a strap, raise your arms. Deep breath in, relax the shoulders. Keep your throat open, your chest broad, and lead from your chest as you bow from your hips, breath by breath. Only bowing as far as you can keep the spine long with a chest slightly lifted so that you're not rounding your shoulders or rounding your back. Pressing down to your hips, inhale, slowly rise. Now let's find a comfortable seat for pranayama before we rest in Shavasana and practice 5 minutes sitting in meditation. We'll be practicing a calming, grounding breathing technique called Durga Pranayama, 3-part breathing. Make sure you're sitting where you feel relaxed, easy to breathe, and tall in the spine. Now imagine that your torso from your pelvic floor to the top of your neck is a jar. Divide that jar into 3 cross sections. The first cross section or bottom is from your pelvic floor to your belly button, all the way around. The second or middle cross section encompasses most of your rib cage. The third or the top cross section includes your chest, upper back, shoulders, and neck. Now we're going to divide an inhalation into thirds. First third, we'll breathe into the lowest section of the torso, pause. Second third, mid torso, pause. Last third, all the way to the top of the neck, hold while relaxing the body. And then through the nose, we'll really slowly empty all of the breath and hold it out at the bottom. That's one cycle. Let's practice 3 cycles of Durga Pranayama together and then continue 2 cycles on your own. Now, to help delineate the 3 parts, you might place a hand on your chest, the top section, and a hand below the belly button, the lowest section. Then maybe close the eyes and visualize where you're breathing into. Prepare to begin by emptying this breath. Into the first cross section, inhale 1/3. Pause. Into the mid, inhale 1/3. Pause. Into the top, inhale the last third. Hold the breath, relax your body through the nose. Exhale slowly. Hold the breath, sit tall and relaxed. Second cycle, inhale to the lowest part. Pause, inhale to the middle. Pause, inhale to the top. Hold it in, relax and observe. Through the nose, exhale slowly. Hold it out. Third cycle, inhale, lowest section. Pause. Inhale, middle. Pause. Inhale, top. Hold it in. Exhale slowly. Hold it out. Continue 2 more cycles on your own. When you finish, let go of controlling your breath and observe anything you feel. And carefully lower your body onto the ground. Find a comfortable position to lie down in, where you can feel symmetry along the left and right sides of your body, maybe turning the palms face up away from the thighs and closing your eyes. Breathing naturally, tune inward and gift yourself presence as you rest for a few minutes in Shavasana. Resting a little longer where you are with eyes closed. Notice how your physical body feels now. And start with small movements. Begin to gently wake up your body. Then ease into a simple stretch. Gradually turning over onto your right side, resting your head. As you pause on your side, bring awareness to the breath and notice how you feel now energetically. Take your time pressing your hands into the earth, lifting your body up, and finding a comfortable seat for 5 minutes in meditation. Sitting tall, grounded, and relaxed. You might place your hands in lotus mudra or stack the palms face up on the center of your lap, thumb tips touching, the latter which helps to just bring a sense of inner balance. Close your eyes or steady a soft gaze on the ground ahead. And let's begin. Just like in the postures of yoga, where you rest in stillness, becoming aware of what comes and goes. Resting in the present moment, sense the awareness that is you. As open awareness, hold space for whatever you observe. If you find yourself entangled in what you're observing, getting caught in it, know that you can let go and rest back in your seat of awareness. Lean in a little closer to sense the light inside of you. Notice how you're feeling now emotionally and mentally. Allow a moment to offer gratitude for all that you feel appreciation for. Then remember your intention for this practice. And remember to whom you dedicated today's practice, including them as a recipient when you are chanting Om to close, sending out the loving vibrations you've cultivated within yourself, as well as integrating it into the cells of your being. Let's close together, chanting Om 3 times. Bowing in towards your heart center. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.